everybody, I'm Latrina Patrick. Welcome to day 7 of our 90-day grant writing tutorial. I cannot believe it's been a week already. We've set the foundation, told you all the basics about writing a grant, and today we finally get into the components of the proposal. I really want to break down each section of a proposal so that you understand what needs to go into each section. Today we're starting out with the problem statement. The problem statement is really important because this sets the foundation for what's to come in that grant. I explained to you guys earlier that I have a background in reviewing grants for the federal government as well as a couple of state agencies, and I always look forward to this part of reading the grant because it tells me right away whether or not this is going to be a good proposal or a bad one. What needs to go into the problem statement? Here we go. You need to include your demographic information. So this is where you talk about your population, your county population, the racial and ethnic background of the people who live in your particular city or your town. You want to bring in some national, state, and local data that you can compare. So for example, if you're talking about teenage pregnancy, you want to cite teenage pregnancy in your county, but you want to compare it also to the national data and the state data, and then you show the local data. And hopefully, to sell your case, the local is higher or worse than the national, but it doesn't really matter that much, but you still want to be able to show that this is a significant issue in your community. You also want to cite your research from like a needs assessment or a focus group. This is where you're going to kind of break down for the reviewer how you determine that this was an issue in your community. So a lot of times people make the mistake of citing a problem from their perspective. So, from the outside looking in, any person could think that the issue in your community was teen pregnancy, or somebody else may be looking and thinking it's high school graduation rates, or somebody else could be thinking it's about HIV and AIDS numbers on the rise. It depends from different people's perspective, but what you can't argue is the data. So you want to make sure that you do a needs assessment. Don't let that word scare you. It's not necessarily you have to hire these evaluators from UGA or Georgia State or some local university to go out and do this for you. Most of the time in your community, somebody else has already done that work for you. So you can use data that has already been gathered to help with your needs assessment. You can do a localized focus group in a particular population that you're going to be working with. And you want to make sure that you identify that population in the problem statement. So when you're talking about your demographics, you also want to identify your target market. So whoever that is you're working with, and whether your program is going to address a community-wide need, it could be a particular section in your community. If you live in a larger city, you may just narrow that down to one particular community in that city. It's however you define it. Your target population is however you define it, as well as a particular age group. So these are the things that you want to bring out in that problem statement to paint your case, tell your story the best way that you can. One mistake that I've observed as a reviewer that some organizations make is that they try to tell things that have nothing to do with addressing that problem in that problem statement. You want to get in the habit of staying within that particular component of the proposal. You'll get to explain your program and all that stuff later, but in this section, you want to just use this area to state the problem. Don't talk about how your organization has a solution to that problem. That's coming up in the program description. You'll get to do that later. Just focus on the problem, make your case, and just outline the issue as you see it in your community with the data and other research to back you up. So one of the reasons why it's important for you to stay within that section is because when it comes to reviewing the grant, this is a key tip that I can offer you as a reviewer. When it comes to reading the grant, especially for federal or state grants, maybe not so much for corporate foundations, but I know for a fact with federal grants, you can be penalized for not addressing the area within that section. So for example, if you're in the problem statement, you're writing that, when the reviewer reviews that grant, they're looking at that section. They're reading that section and they score it. They read the next section and they score it. They can only score based on that criteria that is within that section that they will make known to you in the funding announcement. But if you start talking about your problem statement and you drift off into the program description, well, if you don't include those components, if they see it later along, you may bring it up again later. Well, they can't give that score in that other section. If it's not in the section that it's supposed to be in, it's like you didn't even mention it. So you lose valuable points. So I encourage you to get into the habit of addressing that particular section, and the only things that they're asking for in that section is the things that they want to see. That's a key tip that's going to help you maximize your points. So that's the highlights of what you can expect and what you need to include in your problem statement. I hope that's helpful to you. Tomorrow we're going to go into what you need to include in the program description. There's a lot more that goes into that section, so we'll spend a little more time on the program description. If you have any questions or comments about anything that I've shared today, then please leave your questions here on my YouTube channel so that other people can benefit from the responses. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get immediate updates whenever I upload a new video. I'll also send out weekly updates about what's coming up that week in the tutorial, so make sure you go over to my website and subscribe to my email updates and my newsletter so that you can get that. You really want to be able to see what's coming up, and you can hone in on those days that I cover stuff that you really, really care about. And as a free gift to you for doing that, I will send you a Grant Writer's Toolkit. It includes a sample budget, a template of a grant proposal. So for those proposals that you send that aren't, let's say, a federal or state grant, you have a template that will show you what needs to go into that grant. There are just a lot of goodies that's very helpful to someone that's beginning as a grant writer. So make sure you subscribe to my email updates so you can get that. Along those lines, while you're over there at the website, make sure that you kind of check out my background and check out some of the services that I offer. I think that information will be very helpful to you. So that's www.greatervisionconsulting.com. I hope that you've enjoyed today, and I look forward to coming back tomorrow when we talk about the program description. That's going to be a great section. It's going to be really helpful to you, and I look forward to sharing that information. So that's all for now. I will see you tomorrow.